Hello everyone, and welcome to Kabbalah for the student. Today we have a very interesting topic. All of our qualities called lust, envy, and honor. Why do we need them? How do they serve us? This is what we'll discuss today. You can send us all your questions to kab.tv and we'll be happy to answer. So maybe we'll start with Rav Leitman. Rav Leitman, hello. Let's start with Rav Leitman. Okay, so maybe you can tell us a bit. What is the point of envy, lust, and honor? These are qualities which eventually bring to destruction and disaster. It depends on how you use them. We learn that the light has created the will to receive. First of all, a desire which is called Bchina Aleph. Afterwards, this will to receive that wants to receive, because that's how it was created. This will to receive senses that the light fulfills it and wishes to be like the light, and thus Bchina Bet wants to bestow, to give. But as a result of wanting to bestow, he feels that what does he have to bestow back in return to the light? There's nothing. And thus he reaches a decision that if I will receive in order to bestow to the one who is bestowing on to me, then I will actually reach bestow. Let's say like in our world. If I'm a good kid, my mom wants me to eat, then I accept the food from my mom, whatever she wants me to eat, and by this I bring her pleasure, meaning to receive in order to bestow. This is the third phase. And then, as a result of receiving in order to bestow, by this I become similar to the main attribute of bestowal, which is the Creator. So I feel that I'm similar to the Creator, and then, as a result, I have a feeling of who He is, what He is, and I really, not that I want to become like Him, but I want to enjoy all that He has. And then I really want to, for everything that He is, I want to be. And thus I reach the Bchina Daled, the end of development, which is to receive, but to receive for myself. And here I am the receiver. It comes to us from above, from the root. Here we have the root. And here I want on my own. I am the one who wants to receive. For it's the will to receive that bursts out of the creature as a result of the three previous Bchinot. So, Bchinat Shoresh is the root discernment, the Creator. The way He affects the will to receive which He has created is called Aleph, Bet, and Gimel. And what does it come to? Bchinat Daled, that wants to bestow on its own. And this process is called Havaya Kutzo Shel Yud, which is the tip of the Yud. Yud, Hey Rishona, that means the first Hey. Vav, and Hey Tata'a, which means the lower Hey. Havaya, the well-known name of the Creator. He did it all. The inspiration inside the creature in which he discovers the attribute of bestowal, in which he discovers the Creator. And this development is called the development through the four phases of direct light, being the light which works directly. It brings to the development of the desire that small point where the creature is created as existence from absence, From that point, he reaches a state where he has a great big will to receive here to an infinite extent. Why infinite? Because he wants to receive all that exists in the Creator, to really enjoy for himself entirely, completely. And then all we have are these four discernments, and their root is called Keter. And whatever we talk about, whatever discernment, whatever place of the creature, we can always say that it belongs to these four phases, four Bchinot. Later, these four Bchinot, they extend through the worlds of Adam Kadmon, Atzilut, Bria, Yetzirah, and Asiya, which includes also this world. Or these are Sfirot that are called Keter, Chochma, Bina, Zeranpin, and Malchut. And more, many such things. And also in our world, everything is organized. It's made out of these 5 parts, is divided into 5, accumulates into 5. Everything's 5. And when we talk about the development of man, we also talk about those actual same parts. How? We say as following: all of reality divides into still, vegetative, animate, speaking, and Elokim. That's actually how everything divides. And also, in man's inclinations, when we talk about a person in this world, certainly in him exist also such desires. In a person in this world, we have the corporeal desires, which are necessary, that comes to us from nature. It's even a person who lived on his own. Say a person, he lives alone. Still, he has bodily desires, which are food, sex, and family. And he has human desires, which are, or that awaken in him since he is in human society with those who are similar to him. These are desires for money, honor, control, knowledge, and above this, godliness. And these desires, usually develops them, at least these desires. Money, control, knowledge. Man develops them by the environment. Where an ordinary desire, maybe we'll read a bit. What does Bala Sulam say about these desires? Let's start with that. Do you have anything about that? Okay, let's read. From the introduction to the book of Panim Meirot U'Maspirot, item 3, the Creator is imprinted in the masses. No. Here you're already talking about when you advance. Before this, we say we have the masses, that actually yearns for such desires to only fulfill them. And how do we develop? the masses start wanting that. We said that it comes through the human desires that come from the environment. So what causes them to achieve the very first degree of human development? Please go ahead. So again, the Creator has imprinted in the masses the three inclinations called envy, lust, and honor, that through them the masses develop degree by degree in order to turn it into man, and by their tendency for lust. That brings out the rich. This is the very first degree to the development of the masses, and similar to the degree of the power of lust in humanity is a foreign force which is adapted from the living power. Meaning that the very first inclination that develops in a person that comes out of his cave, say, and he feels that he wants more than what he had before. He wants a bit more food, a bit more sex, a bit more family. And then he understands that he has to be rich, not only what belongs to him now and here, where he lives like an animal, but he has to think about tomorrow, the next day, a bit more, his kids, the relatives, and so on and so forth. He has problems where on the one hand he cares for his existence, on the other hand he cares more than an ordinary animal. Although animals, they also collect different things for them, but he wants it not instinctively, but he acquires this attribute, this inclination from the environment. Meaning a person becomes lustful and he wants to become rich. He wants to receive more than what his body wants, needs. Of course, the body doesn't enjoy this, but he fulfills his lust by attaining wealth and thus develops, and that's the first degree of development. Please continue. And the inclination for honor educes the famous heroes from among them, meaning that after he has achieved the degree of the rich, money, he already has the next inclination in between the steps. How does he do it? Please. The inclination for honor educes the famous heroes from among them. They govern the synagogues, the town, etc. The most firm-willed among them, which also have an inclination for honor, excel in obtaining dominion. These are the second degree in the evolution of the masses, similar to the animate degree in the whole of reality, whose operating force is present in their own essence, as we have said above. This is because the inclination for honor is unique to the human species, and along with it, the craving for governance. Meaning that the masses is the still by the inclination for lust. People grow to wealth, money, they become rich. This is the vegetative degree. And by the inclination for honor, by which through the influence, as a result of them being influenced by the environment, they want honor, and then they become heroes. That's the vegetative, that's the living degree. The inclination for envy elicits the sages from among them. As our sages said, authors' envy increases wisdom. The strong will with the inclination for envy excel in acquiring wisdom and knowledge. It is like the speaking degree in the whole of reality, in which the operating force is not limited by time and place, but is collective and encompasses every item in the world throughout all times. Also, it is the nature of the fire of envy to be general, encompassing all times and the whole reality. This is because it is the conduct of envy in one. If one had not seen the object in one's friend's possession, the desire for it would not have awakened in one at all. You find that the sensation of absence is not for what one does not have, but for what one's friend has, who are the entire progeny of Adam and Eve throughout the generations. If he already is attracted to knowledge, then he wants to know something about the Creator. Who is he? What is he? Why does he fulfill everything? Why does he manage everything? Where is the rulership, providence? Where is his governance over me? How can I participate in it? Where is that network through which he manages me? How can I rise and manage all of reality instead of him, to control it, know destiny, and so on? Meaning that a person who reaches envy, then truly his urge is extremely great and he is unstoppable. Now the only question is, how will he keep ascending? This is to the point in the heart. If the envy with the inclination for knowledge, knowing, developing who and what am I, what's going on here, and so on, if now he will also have an additional point which will take him higher to the place of the root. So here we also see that we have still vegetative, animate, and speaking, meaning the lower Hey, Vav, the first Hey, Hey Rishona, Yud, and up to the point where he ascends to the tip of the Yud, the Shoresh, to the degree of the Keter, to godliness. This is actually, in short, I haven't arranged that well here. We'll have to correct it a bit and arrange our drawing somewhat. But from here it's evident that this is how we grow. It's food, sex, family. We didn't want anything besides it. Afterwards we reached the degree of the masses. You mean, and it starts affecting me, the tendency for wealth and honor and knowledge. And this is how we've grown throughout history. And now we reach the final degree of our desires, where we ask, what is the meaning in life? Why are we living? And this is the question of what is the root. It's not enough for me to know everything like a modern scientist, and by it I ascend to the degree of divinity. And here I'm playing with envy, because acknowledging godliness has to do with knowledge, but knowledge on a degree on which I have to correct myself. And it's not only that by envy I achieve this. The envy, it's called Kinat Hashem Tzvot. We're talking about a different kind of envy. And if a person, with this point, that he starts to develop, he starts to develop his soul the beginning of the point is the beginning of the soul, then here too he develops it on the degree of the still, vegetative, animate, speaking, and godliness, the root. Here too he develops them by the environment, but the environment are those who together with him want to achieve the same goal. This is a group that affects each and every one on whatever degree he is, that also develops still vegetative animate speaking. By these transitions called spiritual lust and honor, spiritual honor and spiritual envy, until he achieves adhesion with the Creator. The same inclinations, the same stages of development we have in corporeality and in between, and also in spirituality. And always we have the 4 phases of development, Yud K, Vav K, from below up, and always the means between them is lust, envy, and lust, honor, and envy. According to this sketch, the awakening, the upper spiritual awakening is very high on the ladder. And now if I look at myself, it could, be kind of a problem. I'm not rich, don't have any power, not a hero, maybe I have some brains. So it means that I can't climb to the top? Very good question. Meaning, from the sketch, we can understand that if I did not become wealthy, then first of all, I have to become wealthy. And only then I reach control and honor, and only then, through envy, I reach knowledge, and only as a result, afterwards I climb the spiritual degrees, and so on. So before me, there's a long, long path of who knows what and how. No. Although the question is correct, the answer is no. Why? Because the general structure of the soul, which the souls are in a structure like a pyramid, where the most is still, then vegetative, then animate, and only at the edge is the speaking. Still, vegetative, animate, and speaking. Both in quantity, it's true, say like in our universe, how much still do you have? Still matter. Infinite tons of rock. How much vegetative? Limited on Earth. Living, even less than the vegetative. How much speaking do we have? 7 billion. And also, if we'll take only the human species, only the speaking species, in it we shall also see a pyramid, such a pyramid that here also is divided into still, vegetative, animate, and speaking in the speaking species. And so on. And thus, each and every soul has its root. What can it accomplish? What can it achieve? What is its place of destination? And it can't go any further than that. Let's say like a cell in a rib or in some part of the body, it can simply grow to become a cell in its place, and that's that. And there's no more than that. And by this, it reaches its final correction. Thus, if a person has a tendency for wealth, only wealth, and as a result of the wealth suddenly has a crisis, the point in the heart leaps up he jumps up to achieve spirituality, and even in spirituality, he achieves the degree of wealth in spirituality very quickly as well. There too he engages in that quality. Well, we'll find out what that means there. There it's in bestowal, not in reception. There are the forms of bestowal of the heroes, the wealthy, the wise, men of the Creator in bestowal. That's how all the souls divide according to their origin, according to each one's root of the soul. And thus, you needed to achieve control and knowledge with your inclinations. And if you had a slight inclination for wealth or something, and from that point on you felt, that's it, I want to reveal the Creator. You're depicting a picture here which seems to me a bit opposite to reality. You're talking about a depiction of development, and on the contrary, we see that these attributes bring in the day-to-day to destruction, war, envy, so on. Of course, the wealthy, the wise, the heroes, all this development, the entire development, it is by our ego. Of course, by the ego. This is the whole matter through and by which we develop. It pushes us to succeed, to the different forms through which we attain the world. I want to be wealthy. That's measured towards others. Or I want to be a hero and control. Honor towards others. Or I want to be wise. That's not that much towards others. I want the wisdom itself to get to know, understand everything. It's also a kind of control. It's also a kind of honor. It's also a kind of wealth, because any inclination here includes inside it also the previous inclinations. I can't be a hero if previously I did not become wealthy, because a hero is an even greater degree. I'm prepared to sell the wealth in order to be ruling, and I'm prepared to sell both the wealth and the control in order to know, because through knowledge I control things, not through money, not by power. But this control is timeless. It's beyond time and space. It's understanding. It's knowledge. It fulfills a person in a way which is kind of close to spirituality. Thus, the wisdom of Kabbalah comes through this. It's put this way to acknowledge the Creator, the general force of nature. But all this through the development of the ego, through our development. So why do we say that it's development? I see that a person merely becomes more egoistic. If we look at this today's state in the world, we see only a crisis. Excellent. I waited for that question. Why? How come? Tell me. Tell me how come. What's our ego called? The evil inclination. Very good. Evil inclination. This is what we need for us to have what to correct. Thus we reach a state where we have a great big evil inclination. This degree, it means that I already have this evil inclination. And besides this, then a point in the heart is revealed, and it's not that necessarily I have to be cruelest of all and the wealthiest of all, or I have to be proud or whatever. No, to a certain extent, I don't exactly know to which extent. But next to this, what is revealed is the point in the heart. But I'm already in a state where to a certain extent, from within this state, I have to grow towards the spiritual development, and then from the spiritual development I achieve the true evil inclination. As I start to reveal through this development my desires of the still vegetative, animate, and speaking, I become crueler. I truly become the evil inclination. There I achieve the so-called klipa, shell. It's not simply the evil inclination that I have here in this world, where it's with respect to other people, that I want to use them in my own favor. That's a small evil inclination. In spirituality, I achieve an evil inclination, one which I want to use the Creator, as it says, as the Pharaoh says, who's the Creator that I should listen to him, that I have to serve him? He's not the greatest power in nature. I'm the greatest power in nature. That's also what a person thinks, that he is above nature, outside of nature, that nature is still vegetative and animate, and I'm not under these laws. I'm not a part of the laws. I use them. I'm above them. This is what we think. We can't say that it's a klipa, a shell, because in our world there's no such thing, because there's neither holiness. But we can learn from our behavior in this world with respect to spirituality of who's the Creator. That's exactly what the Pharaoh says, who's the Creator, that I shall listen to him. And thus we achieve the revelation of evil. And as we achieve the recognition of evil, it's like in the story of the Exodus from Egypt. We take all the vessels from Pharaoh. It's called stealing all of the property of the Egyptians, and this is what we escape with. That I steal all this great evil inclination from him, and that I reach the mountain of Sinai. How Sinai, from the word sinah, hatred. And then I'm prepared to undergo the correction, and I ask or draw the reforming light. Thus, this development from the still vegetative, animate, and human species, meaning the masses, the rich, the heroes, the wise, this is simply essential development, because otherwise I won't have anything what to correct if I shall not achieve this great evil inclination. Yes? So it sounds like some kind of a natural process. That's all good. True, only that it's not really felt as good. The attitude still between the growing evil inclination, the evil inclination is much greater than the point in the heart which pops up. So maybe what we're doing here by studying, we delay the process. No, vice versa. The more, as a result of studying Kabbalah, the evil inclination grows, only it grows in a spiritual dimension. I want to acknowledge, get to know, control, understand. I want. But we say, don't do. We say, what is hated to you, do not unto your fellow man. Means that I reveal the evil inclination. That's the whole thing. The evil inclination, it can't directly be revealed. It's very nice what you just said. If I'm engaged in spirituality, the more I grow. You see this line I drew here? I grow through the ego. Every time my ego becomes greater, I use it, and thus I grow. As I start growing, as I cross into spirituality and start growing spirituality, I no longer grow by the ego. My growth in spirituality is by the light, by the reforming light. But the ego still grows. When do we cross the machsom, the barrier, when we escape Egypt? We say that up to the machsom, the barrier, will reveal all the sins. We don't correct them, we only reveal them. That's what Baal Sulam explains in Introduction to Tess. And it turns out that I have to perform plenty of actions here in order to achieve a great ego, to have what to correct. And the end of this development is Mount Sinai. And then I really get the light here and start working with it. In the 40 years of the desert, it's another correction, also in the desert, 40 years we undergo the same 4 stages. Hey Tata, 10 sfirot and so on. It's 4 stages, still vegetative, animate, and speaking, which I correct in order to bestow, and all the 10 sfirot of all of them. Yes, so on. On the one hand, we know that if there's envy among people, it brings a bad result. On the other hand, we hear that an author's envy, it's something good. It brings a good result. So here we didn't talk about what you're asking. We only talked about how do we grow by our evil inclination through the influence of the environment over us. We grow through evil, and even if afterwards, here we have the machsom. We reach it through the increasement of the evil inclination. However, as later on I advance in spirituality, I start developing myself by the screens, I start advancing through the 3 lines, not by one force, although the evil inclination is revealed on the one hand, the light is revealed on the other hand, and I advance in the middle in between them. And besides, these inclinations of envy, lust, and honor to rise from the anpin to bina, from bina to chokhmah, from chokhmah to keta, and from there even higher. It's also envy, lust, and honor, but I use them in order to bestow they get this I yearn, I aspire for the attribute of bestowal, connection with Him, adhesion. Wealth means as much as I can add to the form of bestowal. Honor means the honor of the Creator. As much as I can control my desires with His honor, with His greatness. It all gets an opposite to ours form, although it's called by the same names. And thus we say, anyone greater than his friend, his desires are greater than his. And when authors envy, it increases wisdom. And all these 10 inclinations in spirituality, since you wish to achieve bestowal through that, these inclinations then they become constructive inclinations instead of destructive ones. And by that a person revives himself and others. These inclinations are revealed in me by the influence of the light, through the appearance of the light in me, not that I have them. In my current state, where I'm in a shell, it's revealed as a result of the breaking, as a result of my nature. When I want to correct, I use these inclinations in their opposite manner. We have a quote from the book of Shamati. A person must cancel the will to receive for himself and to accustom himself to work so that all of his actions will be only in order to bestow. And by this, you draw the vessels and then by envy, lust, and honor, a person takes himself out of this world. And this means that he is in an envy called Kinat Hashem Tzvot, and honor. He wants to increase the honor of heavens, and lust, it's the lust of the innocent. That's the light of Chokhmah that works. We only say that we don't destroy anything. And all those things that seem to us that opposite and so on, they compensate. He says, and the sages said that when authors envy, it increases wisdom. Meaning that when all the friends look at the group, that they're on a very high level, both in thought and in practice, then naturally it is so that each one must rise from his degree to a higher degree than what he has, naturally. Meaning that even if from birth he doesn't yearn for great lusts and he's not attracted to honor and so on, through envy, nonetheless he can acquire additional powers that he didn't get from nature, from birth. But the extent of envy that he has, that power will beget in him new powers that exist in the group, and through them he gets those very attributes, powers that were not existent from birth. Now he has new qualities that the group has given birth to in him. It's very important, since whatever the group gives birth to in a person, it's all on his behalf. That he doesn't get it from his parents, it means that he doesn't get it from the Creator, from nature, but it's his self gain, meaning that only that addition that he gets from the group, by that addition he builds the vessel of the soul. And none of the urges that he's born with, all the rest comes from the group. The more awakenings he gets from the group, desires and so on, and by developing through envy, lust, and honor, by developing the soul, all that he gets from the group, that is his gain, and that's what he stays with. And thus, whatever he has received from the Creator, it's not taken into consideration, but only that addition that he got from the environment. Thus, we have to constantly be connected to the environment and understand that our choice of environment, it brings us those components of the kli of our soul. Yes. Meir from Herzliya is asking, so the great Kabbalists also had the attribute of envy while their attainment. It says that when authors envy, it increases wisdom. Of course. Only again, the envy that a person above the barrier has, it's not the same envy that we have. For me, to be envious is to be envious of others. I don't want them to have anything if I don't have, for example. And I'm ready for anything, only not to see any excellence in the other. It's not even a matter of excellence, it's a matter of dependence eventually, because my will to receive is built such that I look at the other and then I depend on what he has. And that dependence in the relation between us, that's how it's called, envy. And then if he has less, then it's vice versa. It turns into pleasure for me. That's how it is in our world. in the spiritual world, it's the opposite. Let's say the Ramachal has a nice article called Kinat Hashem Tzvot, that let's say, simply put, metaphorically speaking, when I place myself as one who fights on the side of the Creator against my egoistic nature. It's like Bala Sulami depicts it, as he portrays it in the story of the king who turned his servant into a minister and let him fight against those that want to kill him and steal his fortune. Moshe from Israel and Andy from Toronto are asking before the Machzom, can I watch over the development of these desires, or it's impossible to watch over them? We don't have to watch over the desires. We don't even know them. I don't exactly know which desires am I in. They're all mixed, all these desires, in each and every one. It's not that I want only wealth or honor or only knowledge, each time differently, or I have periods, only this or only that. Sometimes there are such periods in a person. Sometimes, yes. Especially if there is a desire to trip him on the spiritual way, then he gets a big desire for something, he subdues and leaves the spiritual path for a certain period of time. But in most of the people, all these inclinations are mixed. And a person, he is every time thrown into a different, into something else. Money, lust, honor, the revelation of the Creator a bit, and the attribute of bestowal in him. And that's how it is in each and every one. And thus we have to sort these desires as quickly as possible in the group and to bring them to a total sum in order not to stop on the way. You see how many people die without achieving the desired result, without achieving divinity, and come back with the same calculation they started life with. Yes. Suppose we'll take a newborn baby, we'll put him into a social incubator where he has only revelation of the Creator. How will his attribute seem? We won't expose him to this world of corporeality. If such a baby is born and enters such an environment, it is a sign that, according to all of his urges, the root of the soul, he is already supposed to develop only spiritually in a spiritual society. Otherwise, it won't be that baby. It would be another baby or a third baby or someone who deserves to develop that way. The Creator brings each one of us to a suitable environment for spiritual development, and his process will be short. Of course, his process will be short compared to other babies. Of course. But it is because he is born in such an environment, and he's born in such an environment because he has such reshimot with which he has to be born with. That's the root of his soul. That's how it is. We are feeling beings. Say I have a new neighbor. He has this great car. I have a deficiency for it. And there comes a guest and gives him honor, and another guest comes to him and he speaks wisely, and I have a greater deficiency. On the other hand, we know that by definition of the wisdom of Kabbalah, that the gap between what I want and what I have. Now I have a very big gap between what I have and between what seems to me as what I want. So this evil that's revealed, that imprint in me in order to awaken me, where does it work? In emotion, in mind, the relations between us. The evil. This evil that we came to eventually through the tendencies and inclinations imprinted in us, the ego. No, the real ego that's revealed is revealed as the gap between you and the Creator corresponding to your degree. As different as it's revealed only to the extent to which you can correct it. It's not revealed to a person more than he is capable of asking for correcting. You don't put an obstacle before a blind person. No such thing. The condition is revealed to you only on condition that you can overcome it every time. And thus, this evil, it's like the revelation of an illness. It's correctable. And usually what we learn from Kabbalah is that we need to go the other way. We have to precede the remedy to the illness. I have to immerse myself into the group so strongly to always have the fuel, connection, vitality, feeling, attainment, scrutiny, positive power is such that as much evil as is revealed, I will immediately be able to grab a hold of it and change it, invert it into good, so that the correcting forces will stand ready for me. That's the right advancement, to constantly equip yourself by powers, by such kalim, that the evil that's revealed will always be revealed such that I immediately correct it. I wait for it to reveal. Thus, I prepare myself, and it's possible. And then the advancement could be like an adventure, where I don't feel the evil that's revealed, I feel the good. Because I turn it into good. From that evil, I reveal another part of divinity. That's our work. And that's that gap between what I want and what I have. We have to prepare ourselves in advance that if there will exist this gap between what I want and what I have, I'll immediately fulfill it by what I have. Yes. But how do I know what is preferable? What's good? I don't know. I never felt it. Untrue. If I work towards the group, next to the group, then all the stages to which I'm not connected yet, not in touch with, which are parts of my soul, and I still do not identify it to be so. I'm not aware of it. I do not connect to them this way. All these are still deficiencies which I have to see in me, and to fulfill them, to correct them, is something that has to be preferable. And still, I have not attained it. I didn't achieve it. Also, if I admit towards myself to bestow, to do, I don't feel anything besides myself for the time being. Thus, these stages are called lo lishma, where for the time being, while you advance, you think that you'll get something good as a result. You still don't connect everything to the environment and to the entire system. But you see, after we reach from the masses to the wealthy, to the heroes, to the wise, and then to the men of the Creator, what do we achieve? That we're more and more dependent on the external system, on the environment, and this dependence, it becomes so dependent that I feel that I'm connected to them and I want to tie them to me truthfully. And I think that by this we will conclude. So we'll conclude. Thank you very much to all our viewers that you were with us, and we'll see you on our next show.